Hey everybody, Peter here, and welcome back to my office. I wanted to take a few minutes to discuss a subject with you that, well, affects virtually all of us. And that subject is procrastination. Why do we do it? Why do we procrastinate? Why do we procrastinate often on the very actions that are going to get us to the lives that we really want to live, the results that we really want to achieve, the experiences that we really want to experience? Well, in this video, stay tuned because we are going to not only answer that question, but you're going to walk away at the end of the video with some tips and some techniques that'll help you to slow down or eliminate procrastination in those key areas of your life. So I want to start out at the top of this video by saying that a little bit of procrastination is a normal thing. If that procrastination is not significantly slowing you down across the board in your life, or significantly slowing you down in a key area where you want to get results, then it's probably not that big of a deal as long as you're still making forward progress. And in fact, very often that procrastination is just a sign that maybe you need to do a little bit more fine-tuning before you're actually ready to move forward with action. So I'm not talking about that kind of procrastination that's intermittent and kind of a little bit here and a little bit there, and eventually you get to doing the things you know you need to do. I'm talking about that procrastination that's chronic, either across the board in life, or that's chronic in a key area that's very important to you in terms of getting the results you want to get. So, why is it that we procrastinate? The answer is really a very simple one. And the answer is that we procrastinate because our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, and our body are not in sync toward taking the actions that we need to get the results that we want to achieve. It's really that simple. Don't worry if that sounds complicated right now, because over the next couple of minutes, I'll break that down for you, and then we'll get into some solutions to procrastination that you can start applying right now. Now, if you haven't seen my video entitled Why We Don't Get What We Want, I'm going to go ahead and put a link to that video in the video description for this video. In that video, you're going to see in great detail the relationship between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, the actions the body takes, and the results that you get. So I highly recommend that you take a look at that video after you're done looking at this one. I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick overview of that now, and then we're going to get into the meat of procrastination and what to do about it. So really quickly here, I'm going to draw a couple of circles. You may have seen this before. This is called the stick person. If you'd like more information on the stick person, even outside of my video, you can do a little research, maybe a little Googling, and look up Thurman von Fleet. He was the chiropractor, I believe in the early 1930s, that came up with this concept. So at any rate, giving credit where it's due, thank you, Dr. Thurman Fleet, let me just use this to quickly explain that connection between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the body, and then we'll get into the heart of mitigating procrastination. All right, so I'm going to use a different colored marker here. Bear with me. And I'm going to label these parts of the mind. So this top part of the mind you're seeing here, I'm going to put a C in here. We're going to call that the conscious mind. This bottom part of the mind, there really isn't a top and a bottom to the mind, but just for our illustrative purposes, the bottom part of the mind, I'm going to label that bottom part of the mind with an S. And the S is for the subconscious mind. I'm going to label the lower circle here with a B, and the B stands for body. Now, procrastination happens when we don't have alignment between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the body. And here's how that works. So the conscious mind constantly gets bombarded through our five senses: hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, touching. From the moment that we're born, we are bombarded with ideas. Some of these ideas and thoughts and things that we pick up with our five senses are aligned with the goals that we want to achieve and aligned with the actions that we need to take to get to those goals, but a lot of them aren't, and they slow us down. Okay, so let's put a real example on this. Let's say that you have a fitness goal and you want to lose 20 pounds, gain lean muscle mass, get into the best physical shape of your life. And you say, I'm going to do this with my willpower. But then you find yourself procrastinating. Maybe it was a New Year's resolution. You did really well for the first few days. And then, as often happens, by the end of January, we've kind of fizzled, procrastinating on the actions we need to take to get into shape. And there you are in the same shape that you were in without the result. So why does that procrastination happen? Let's run that whole example through this model. So let's say that in the conscious mind, I've set that idea, I want that fitness goal. But all my life, these arrows coming into the top part of the mind here in our illustration, the conscious part of the mind, all the information coming in says that's really hard to do. Your genes don't support it. Everybody in your family is overweight. Look at Aunt Gertrude, she's overweight. And most people say that, you gain the weight back, it's very difficult, etc., etc., etc. Well, getting them bombarded with that over time through life, that idea not only gets cemented in the conscious mind, but I'm going to draw a couple of arrows here going from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind. Essentially, the subconscious mind marinates in those ideas. Now, where the conscious mind can accept or reject or originate ideas, the subconscious mind can't. It's going to take whatever the conscious mind feeds it over time. So with that repetition over time, the subconscious mind now is saying it's too hard, it's in your genes to be overweight, most people gain the weight back, etc., etc. So then here's what happens. We decide with our conscious mind, I'm going to go to the gym 3 days a week, and I'm going to watch what I eat and only eat the right foods and the right number of calories to get me to that fitness goal. And we really mean that, and we're really, really committed to it. But what happens is, because the subconscious mind has been programmed over time with all of the ideas here about how difficult this is going to be and that we're not likely to be successful, the body doesn't take sustained actions to achieve that ideal. So the body will do one of two things. It will take actions that are completely not aligned with that goal, actions like sitting on the couch and watching TV while eating potato chips and chocolate chip cookies. I've done that. Don't feel guilty if you've done that. Try to keep that to a minimum now, but we are all guilty of that sometimes. But in this case, the body's going to take more of those actions, and the body's going to procrastinate on taking the actions of going to the gym, exercising, the proper nutrition, etc. Because, believe it or not, a lot of times we're not aware of this, or we don't want to believe it, but it's true. All the actions that we take, that we sustain over time, basically are from our subconscious programming, not our conscious willpower. If you think about that for a moment, you'll see a lot of examples of that in your own life and the lives of other people. So then, to wrap this up, what we end up doing is we take actions. I'm going to put an A here for actions. But the actions are either procrastination or actions that are opposite to what we need to do to get the results we want. And then we get results. I'm going to put the word same down here. But we get this, in this case, the same results, and we don't get toward that goal. Okay, so that's really what's going on. Again, I'm going to put a link in the goal description for my video on why we don't get what we really want. It's going to go into a lot more detail on that connection between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the body. But I wanted you to have that before we get into what to do about procrastination. All right, so I'm going to grab my eraser here, and let's go ahead and take some of this graphic off. And now, let's talk about what to do about procrastination. So the first thing to do with procrastination is to understand that conscious mind, subconscious mind, and body connection. And so how do we start reprogramming the subconscious mind so that the subconscious mind is now believing things automatically like, I could lose weight. I've seen people do it before. It can be easy to get fit, simply by originating those ideas in the conscious mind, writing them out, picturing it. I know it sounds goofy to a lot of people who aren't used to doing that, but by picturing it in the mind, writing it out, and making those statements over and over again, it doesn't really have to take more than about 30 days of doing it consistently. We can start reprogramming the subconscious mind so that it's actually aligned with the actions we need to take to get the results that we want to get, the fitness results in this case. And I'll have more on that in specifics in a future video. But what I will do in the goal description here is I'll link to a document that will help you to start reprogramming the subconscious mind now. So look for a link to that document in the goal description. I want to leave you with one thing that also will help you in the short term to overcome procrastination. And I actually call this DLA5. And let me describe what that is. So we're going to just write down a D, an L, an A, and a 5. Now I want to give a caveat here. This is best done in conjunction with the subconscious reprogramming that we talked about a moment ago. So again, go to the goal description and go ahead and download that guide to how to reprogram your subconscious to align with the results that you want to get. Use that in conjunction with DLA5. Okay, so what's DLA5? The D stands for decide. And what that means is you want to decide very, very clearly on what it is that you want. And what that means is you want to have a worthy goal. In this case, that fitness goal, we would call that a worthy goal. I'm going to use the term type C goal here. There are really 3 goal types in a hierarchy. At the bottom is type A. In the middle is type B. At the top is type C, the worthy goal. So decide on a type C goal and make that decision. Go to the goal description and go back to my earlier video, and you'll see a link to a video that's all about the 3 goal types. So you want to decide. The L stands for list. So once you've decided on that big goal that you want to achieve, the C-type goal as we call it, then what you want to do every single day is list out 6 goal-achieving activities. You're going to list out and then prioritize 1 to 6 activities, 6 actions you can take that day that are going to lead you toward the achievement of that goal, that type C goal that you decided on. Now, don't worry if you don't get through the whole list every day. The key is to prioritize that list. Start with the first thing on the list. Continue through that first thing until you complete it. Ideally, move on to the second thing and continue. Now, I know what your question is. Your question is going to be, what if I am procrastinating and I can't get through the list? And trust me, I'm going to cover that in just a second. But first, let's get to the A, and the A is act. Okay, so I've already mentioned that, but after you've listed the 6 goal-achieving activities and prioritized them, you're going to act on those in priority order. Now, to answer the question that I know is on a lot of your minds, what if I start acting on the things that I've listed and the procrastination hits me? This has worked marvels for me. I started doing this in college when I had to write lengthy papers. Same thing when I was getting my master's degree. I do it with a lot of the work that I'm working on right now here in my office. You may have heard this before, but if you haven't actually applied it, I encourage you to apply it. The 5 stands for the 5-minute rule. Okay, so we're going to call that the 5-minute rule. Let me go ahead and write that out. And simply put, what that means is that, let's say you're on the first thing that's on your list of 6 goal-achieving activities. Start that first one. You really want to try to complete it all the way through, but if you feel like, I'm procrastinating, I can't get started, seriously, use the 5-minute rule and just commit to doing it for 5 minutes. Here's what'll happen, guarantee it. Worst case scenario, you're 5 minutes ahead on that activity. You've got some done. But best case scenario, and this is usually what happens, you end up doing a lot more than 5 minutes. Your motivation increases, and you find yourself doing a lot of that task. And in many cases, you'll find yourself actually getting that task completely done. Once you get it done, you look at it, you see the results you're getting, you feel that sense of satisfaction. Your frequency literally improves, you feel better, and that motivates you to take the next action. And you can always just commit to that action for at least 5 minutes. It really takes the sting out of the procrastination. You'll find yourself saying, hey, well, it's only 5 minutes. I can do anything for 5 minutes. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a lot farther than just 5 minutes. And in most cases, you're actually going to complete that activity. So I hope you found this helpful. Just to summarize here, we've talked about procrastination happening because we don't have alignment between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the body and the actions the body takes. Go to the comments section for a video link to how that mind-body connection works. And we also talked about how to overcome procrastination using the DLA 5 rule here. So I encourage you, give all of this a try. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. And most importantly, let me know how this works for you and let me know what results you're getting. Thanks again for being with me here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.